Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free, impartial advice on all your debt. This is Kuhn Cassius for iFall TV in association with MTK Global. Delighted as always to be joined by Johnny Nelson. All right, mate?
Morning. I had to have the weekend off this weekend. I was mashed up.
Why?
I was ill. I didn't feel too good. I was ill. But I'm back now. I'm back in the loop.
What, ill or ill?
I was ill. I was ill, man. I was ill. I thought the chest infection, but long story. But we're good. We're good now. We're good. I'm back. I'm back.
And it mad. Doesn't matter what you've got. Like, you could say, like, oh yeah, like, I feel ill or I broke my leg, and people go, what, is it COVID?
You know what?
Anything you say,
funny you should say that. I had 2 COVID tests last week. 2. They both came back negative. And eventually got to the doctor, and the doctor said, but your symptoms are that of COVID. And I said, but I've had 2 there on my phone negative, and I was sick of the donkey. I couldn't breathe or anything. And I went to this walking centre, and I said, told the symptoms. They said, you've got to come out. You might have COVID. I said, I've got 2 negatives there. What are you talking about? Just give me something from my chest. And then it was a joke. It was a joke, but they wouldn't even look at you. They kept saying, it's negative. Yeah, but you've got COVID. But it's negative twice. It's just like, you don't understand. It was hard work, man. But I'm back. I'm back in the fold now. I'm good, Biddy Ray.
Nelson's back. I'm sure you would have, at some point over the weekend, watched the antics and activities of Saturday night in Peterborough.
Yeah, I did, yeah. It was, which one are you going to talk about? Are you going to talk about the referee? Or we haven't had the judge, or are we going to talk about the Ritson fight? Which one, where are we going?
Well, I mean, let's talk about, listen, the judging's obviously dominated the headlines in British boxing over the last few days. And I will point out a lot of, obviously, people from the photograph that we saw that seemed nailed on that Terry O'Connor was using a phone. That's what it looked like. But now the footage, when people have slowed the footage down, it seems that he was glancing at his scorecard. So, I don't know for definite which one it is, but it's unfair to kind of everyone to keep saying that he was on his phone if he wasn't on his phone. Do you know what I mean? And it looks like in the footage that we've seen now, you know, it was quite likely to have been his scorecard. So
I think Terry O'Connor's very professional as well, and I'd never doubt his integrity. That's just my opinion. I think it's all subjective. He said he was looking at his scorecard. You know, I don't know why at that point in the fight, but you know, he looked at his scorecard. You know, maybe we always look for someone to blame for if anything's going on or if anybody does any wrong. It's speculation. I actually believe his excuse. I think he does a good job, and that's it. End of.
But I mean, that was kind of the side story to the scoring of the Ritson fight, which obviously Vasquez lost the fight that many believe won. But that was obviously the side story, and that was only from, like I said, a screenshot. This is the power of social media getting put out, and then suddenly, like, it's like hung, drawn.
Yeah, but that's social media. But you've got to be mentally strong enough to be able to ignore this kind of stuff, because you're always going to get it. And O'Connor at the moment is going to get it hellfire. I'm sure he's got the backing of the board where they'll just say, look, just do your job, get your head down. And this is part of the reason why the board don't let the referees do interviews referring to fights or stuff like that, because you know it's a tight setup. I'm quite sure he'd have been reprimanded regardless if he was looking at his scorecard or not at that point. listen, you can't blame that whole situation on him. I just think it's just one of those things. It's just adding fuel to the fire of a result that was in question.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the result, because, like I said, I don't see anyone who was watching that the other night that has. Well, I haven't spoken to everyone who's watched the fight, but I'm saying the people that I've seen, no one doesn't believe that Vasquez didn't win that fight. So, I mean, what was the judging behind that? What were they looking at, and what were they watching?
You know, but
how were they perceiving that?
We've had this argument before in the past, and I always say when it gets to things like that, they should have the judges justify on camera, justify their scoring. And then when you put a face to the scoring, then people will be more mindful about how they score and if they paid attention or not to the job in hand. So say, for instance, so the scoring there, something like you could sit down with a judge and say, right, and go through it. What are you looking at there? You know, explain that to me. Explain why you've given that round there. And I think when it comes to people having to justify their decisions, I think there'd be a lot less of these kind of unfair decisions given in boxing. It's happened time and time again, but unfortunately, you know, it's forgotten about after 2 or 3 weeks. But I just think there should be more of an intense questioning, investigation, or interview. So these judges think, right, you know what, I better do my shit right because I've got to justify why I've said that. I would never do an interview or comment on somebody I can't justify my comments on. I won't just say it for the headline. I'll give a justification and understanding. And that's the same with referees. They've got to give they should be able to give a justification and understand and their understanding of what they saw. So even if it's wrong or right, they've got to see, look, that's what I saw. And you can say, all right, I get what he's looking at, but I don't agree with you. And that's the only way you can stamp this out in our sport.
That's not likely to happen anytime soon, though, is it?
Yeah, I think if people keep shouting about it, it'll happen. Look at football when they've got the cameras on the touchline.
Years that's taken for that to happen, but
it's happened.
Well, that system's flawed and fucked as well.
Yeah, but all right then. But it made a difference. It has made a difference. I'm quite sure.
It's made a difference, but they're still getting stuff wrong.
Yeah, of course they will, and that's why you've got to do things to try and adjust every little tick, every little wrong. But I think in our game, that's something that's got to happen down the line, and it takes us to put pressure on people to say, right, let's get this done.
I mean, a few days ago now, but who kind of caught your eye? There was it was the night of the underdog, wasn't there? You would have been proud because you was an underdog all your life, weren't you, really, Johnny?
You know what? I actually, so a lesson learned was Law. Law learned a harsh lesson. He got stopped in, was it round 3?
Sorry.
Yeah, he got stopped in round 3, and he learned a harsh lesson. He's like a little wrecking ball, and he's still very green, very naive. And listen, he's a character, and with his bold statements about how he sparred and who he sparred with and who he wants to fight. And that's what you got to do coming into our game. But I think he learned a harsh lesson there. So now that loss is either going to break him or make him come back stronger and settle down and pay attention to what he's doing. Because I just thought when I've seen him before, I thought this kid is so green and he's got so much to learn, but he needs a wake up call, and that was his wake up call.
And then the other noticeable performances, Ellie Scottney performed well on her pro debut. Good wins for Kane Baker and Mark Leach. And
you know what? I think it was a decent trade show. I think it was a decent show. You know, and I'm just sat there watching. I'm thinking, it's all right. I like the fact that, you know, we're not getting 50-50s. Or blue's not going to beat red, or red's not going to beat blue. You just don't know, and I actually like that. And this is what we need. I think it's a sign of the times where I suppose Eddie can't be given. There's not many fighters that can have a given. Here's a soft touch now. You've got to go in there and earn your crust, and create fairness. So at the end of the day, I actually like this kind of thing happening where the best win, not the ones that have had more notice or the ones that had everything in their favour. So. Yeah, I actually enjoyed the show. And then stayed up till stupid o'clock. Well, I didn't stay up. Woke up again at stupid o'clock, trying to watch the the Lomachenko fight. Again, that was it was interesting. The before the fight, Lopez was totally written off by so many people. This kid, 15 fights? Yeah, he was a banger. What's he done? But you had a 23-year-old against a 32-year-old man that I think showed his hunger, showed his youth, showed his ignorance of not being intimidated by the rumours of or the rumour mill of this guy's pound for pound best. And I hate it when I hear that and see that when people say this guy's brilliant, he's a pound for pound best. I think Lomachenko is an outstanding fighter. And I said this before, so it's not just kicking him out on his hand. I said this before, an outstanding fighter. But there's no way he wasn't unbeatable, but even though he'd been beaten in his second pro fight. I thought there's flaws. He and Usyk are classed as awkward. They're not awkward, they're just unorthodox. Now, if you figure out what's in front of you and how to deal with that unorthodox style, then you'll understand how to beat that style. And I think Lopez showed how to beat that style. Stick to your guns, to have pace, have precision, keep doing what you're doing. Don't crumble under the mental pressure they put you under. And that's what Lomachenko was trying to do. He was trying to put him under mental pressure for the first half of the fight, hoping he'd fade the second half. But then Lopez had the energy and the fortitude to still get through. He had a few rough moments second half of the fight, but he still stuck to his game plan. And I think it was a well-deserved win. I'm surprised Lomachenko was saying, I thought I won. He didn't win. He didn't win at all. But I think it's a blueprint or message when people say this guy's unbelievable, this guy's pound for pound best. You've got to think where this comes from. And I've said it before to other people. I could say I saw Coogan fighting down the road, took on 15 guys, knocked them all out. This guy's a bad man. And I'd tell somebody else, and they'd tell somebody else. All of a sudden, Coogan's like the hardest man on the planet. Just because I say it doesn't mean it's true. So when everybody says this guy's unbelievable,
in that case, what you were saying was true. Yeah, carry on. Go on, carry on.
So what I'm saying is, when people jump on this bandwagon, I don't mind going against the grade, and I don't mind the stick that I'll get going against the grade. It's like Devin Haney. This again, another one. They're saying this guy's no, he ain't. This kid's very beatable, but just no one's shown how to do it yet. No one's had been in the position that found the blueprint to do it yet. So it's just buying into this bullshit when they say this kid's unbelievable, unbeatable, pound for pound best. No, I'm not having that.
The blueprint to know how to beat you was discovered in the first fight, wasn't
it? You see, but I learned, my brother. And that's what I'm saying. I'm from a gym of unorthodox fighters. So I understand Usyk. I understand Lomachenko. I understand the mindset in what they're dealing with there. And I understand the perception from their opponent thinking, how do I train for something like this? How do I do this? You've got to stick to your game plan. This is your game plan. And they will do everything to kid and con and talk you and make you deviate from your game plan, and then you fall into their trap. Stick to your game plan. If you stick to your game plan, it will unfold, it will work. But you've got to be fit all the way through. I mean, from round 1 to round 12. And I'll tell you one thing, with Derek and Usyk, Derek has got an amazing engine. Listen, I ain't going to kid and con anybody. I don't think he's technically better than Usyk, but I do think his engine's second to none. And if you watch each time when he boxed Dillian, he was the one with more left at the end of the fight. And this guy's been training for a good year? So I know Derek's in good condition. So Usyk's got to bring his A game, because if he's not on his toes, Derek will try and bulldoze him down. That's what he's going to try and do. He's going to try and walk into it.
We'll come on to kind of the Sky schedule of heavyweight fights in a minute. I wanted to ask you about Anthony Joshua's comments on Deontay Wilder he made on Sky Sports over the last 2 or 3 days. I'll repeat the quote now, yeah. So, I can't wait for him to address the reason why the Fury fight isn't going to happen at the end of the year, why he lost, the costume, glove situation. I hope he does come back because he's a great asset to the division. So there's a little bit of maybe a backhanded compliment in there from Joshua, reading between the lines.
But he's only done what everybody else has probably done, or or people like you get people like me to say.
I get you to say.
Yeah. No, people like you have me saying, but even though you think it, you won't say it. But I want to know whether the guy is that gets to interview Deontay Wilder, is he going to have the bottle to ask those questions and not be railroaded into what he wants to tell you? And that's the problem. The longer he leaves it, the harder it's going to be. And this is why I said the other week, he's going to walk away. He ain't going to box again. Or it'll be 2 or 3 years. I'm telling you. Because he's been out, and clearly he can't get over. He can't get over the loss. He's struggling. It's like, and he'd be leading the hype. One of the fighters I knew was like that, Prince Hassim Hamid. He believed in everything about himself. So when he lost to Barrera, that absolutely it crushed him. He came back, had one fight, and then he chipped. He disappeared because he couldn't get his head around it. And that is Wilder. Wilder cannot get his head around it. And his ego has taken a stamping where he thinks, how do I deal with this? You know, and he can't deal with it. That's why he's not addressed it. That's why, because he's going to get questions on the garbage rumors that have come out. So I get Anthony Joshua saying that, because Anthony Joshua, he wasn't bitching. He actually asked a question that, well, it's a normal question. And I think you're a great asset to the sport, but I want to hear what you got to say. You know, so it wasn't he bitching, he was just asking a question what everybody else asked. And I'm quite sure it's the same question that Tyson Fury's asked. So do not be surprised if he walks and he disappears. He's a very wealthy man, and he's happy to stay quiet and do what he's doing since he's boxed, not said a word. Was it going to be like a phoenix coming out of the ashes? I'm back again. You know, I don't think. I think he'll struggle to get his head around it. I don't think he'll ever get over it. Not that kind of beating.
I can't see him not returning. I can't see that. I think he will definitely return. The reasons why you could call the silence over the last few months, if you want to call it that, we don't know. But I don't think that he will stay like.
All right, it's cool. As an ex-fighter, right, and I've seen it with other fighters. If you catch the beating like that so bad, and you've not said a word publicly, you've not addressed it, you've not took your licks, took your criticism, or you've just switched off, you think, I can't deal with this, and you've left it so long and gone on, and now it's come to fight time, you're hearing nothing from him, the fighter. You're hearing it from his people, but nothing from him, the fighter. He's a big grown-ass man. So there's no way anybody's telling him, don't say anything, don't say this. He's a big grown-ass man. You know, so therefore, it's the people around him want him to box more than he does. It's them around him. So it's got to a point where they're not giving any quote directly from him. Nobody is giving any quote at all. He's checked out. I'm telling you, he can't deal with it. I remember Brendan always used to say, never believe in your own hype. Because once you start doing that, or the good or the bad they say about it, they've got you. Nas did the same. Wilder's done exactly the same. He believed in his own hype. And I just don't think he'll ever come back from it. Or if he does, Tyson Fury won't be around. Because he now knows one man can kick his ass. So Tyson Fury won't be. If he does, it'll be when Tyson Fury's not there. Because say, for instance, he does come back. What's his ambition? Because it's clearly not to get him with Tyson Fury, because he had enough time to train for it. So therefore, I want to be this version of a world champion. How many world champions out there actually believe they are the best in the world? I believed I was the best in the world, regardless if anybody else believed it. Deontay Wilder, even if he got a version of a world title, he's not going to believe he's the best in the world. It's clearly not about though, because it could have got in the ring now on the scheduled date with Tyson Fury and got paid a shed load of money. So I just think he just can't comprehend it. He can't deal with it. Can't accept it. Can't get over it.
Well, time is a factor, but time's been ticking on since February. So we know Tyson Fury will return in December in the UK, and we'll just have to sit back and wait and see how that Wilder situation pans out. Not Fury Wilder. I'm on about just Wilder in general. Just, you know. So
well, you give. So you spoke to him. You interview him whenever you possibly get the chance. You tell me, what can he possibly say? Because if I was you and I was interviewing, I'd say, where have you been? Boom, microphone straight there. Where have you been? What's going on? Yeah, I got to get my head straight. Blah 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 blah. Then you're gonna have to address the stupid things that were said. He's gonna have to say, wasn't me, wasn't me, wasn't me, wasn't me. Then he's gonna have to address why the fight's fallen through. Then he's gonna have to address why Mark Breland's no longer in the camp. So there's a lot of things that are contradicting things that tell me he doesn't want any of this anymore. He doesn't want it. And you know what? He'll think, you know what? I'm a wealthy young man. You know, I've just had a new ass ripped. No, I ain't doing that. I'm done. I'm out of this.
Well, like I said, I don't believe that to be the case, but you're the ex-fighter, you know better, so we'll...
Do you remember when they fought, me and you did an interview, and I said, don't be surprised if this doesn't happen. Do you remember? You interviewed me, and I said, I'm sure I got some backlash bullshit with it. I said, do not be surprised if the rematch does not happen. I'll be very surprised. You dig in your archives, man. Dig it out.
I think you're lying. You just made that shit. We interview you every 3 days, so basically, you know we're not going to go back through all that old shit. I'd rather watch some of your old fights, to be honest.
I'm going to dig it out. I'm going to dig it out for you.
Okay, well, look, like I said to you, I think he will return. You don't believe he will. We'll see what happens. I mean, look, we could talk about it all day, but bottom line is we know Fury's coming back in December. He'll move on with his career, and we'll see what happens with Wilder.
All right. Yeah, we'll put my word. What day? What? With 2020.
I will address it if he doesn't return this time next year.
Right. So if you get that exclusive interview with him, are you going to ask him the questions? Are you going to ask him all the questions that I just posed to you? Or are we going to develop amnesia?
Hold on a minute. Right. I don't believe they're even difficult questions to ask him, if I'm being honest.
You really?
Yes, I don't.
So
where have you been? Asking about everything that's gone on in the thing. I think that's just like standard. I don't think that's like anything.
So you're going to ask him about you're going to ask him about the costume excuse. Yes. You can ask him about the bicep operation. You can ask him about. Right.
I don't see why you're saying that anyone with half a brain can interview would answer these questions. Mm-hmm. It's quite. Fair play, Johnny. Fair play. Touche, Johnny. Touche. No, I think they're standard questions you have to ask him. Otherwise, what's the point of him even interviewing?
I get you.
It's unlikely that I'll get to interview him because obviously he's not even here and we don't like bump into each other or anything. So, we'll see.
I get you, but let's wait and see. I'm just waiting for that first interview, and then you'll understand about the bottle of the reporter. See if you'll ask those questions.
I think it's normal to ask them questions. I don't think it's like...
No, it's normal, but sometimes it's like, yeah, I know it is, but really when you
you have to, otherwise there'd be no sense in talking to Deontay Wilder if you didn't literally go through everything you just said.
All right. Oh, wait. I just want to see. I hope it's you that gets it. I hope it's you that gets the interview. Oh. I'm gonna be,
but we'll see. Johnny, what fight are you most looking forward to from the Sky schedule of heavyweight?
There's a few actually. I'm looking forward to Usyk Chisora. Just see Usyk's introduction to the heavyweight.
Can division. You do your version of?
Sorry,
your version of Usyk.
What? His Derek one. Oh, I think AJ did a great one. Derek. No, Derek. No, it's not working.
What the fuck is that? What was that? Johnny, do it.
I'm not very good at accents.
Derek.
No, he didn't sound like that. Sounds like a budgie. That sounds like a budgie trying to talk. But I'm looking forward to that one. Just to see his introduction to the heavyweight division. I'm looking forward to, of course, Dylan White's rematch. Let's see if Lightning can strike twice. And then, of course, I think Anthony Joshua, God forbid me saying this, I think he's probably got the easiest fight out of all of them. That's just my opinion. Yeah. All right, then.
You just don't know, dear. You just don't know. You literally.
Yeah, I do, man.
All right, give me your free fight predictions for the fight soon, and let's see if they come true.
I don't like doing this because people take it personal.
All right, don't do it then. I'll tell you what, Johnny. I'm going to give you a pass. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Fine,
In fact, I don't want you to do it.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Pussy. No, do you know what though? I'll listen. We know Chisora's got a tough fight. Chisora knows he's got a tough fight. David A knows he's got a tough fight. Dillian White, we want him to fucking do this. We like Povetkin, but we want Dillian White to do this. AJ, you say he's got the easiest out of the three, but I don't know. You don't know, do you?
Oh, all right. Listen, okay. I do believe AJ's got. It's not easy, but he's got the easiest.
Yeah, okay. I wouldn't say that's still. I don't believe that fight for AJ is an easy fight as people are going on about.
No, it's the easiest out of the three.
Yeah. I know you said yes. Okay.
Yeah, and so that's why I just think it'd be. What a great run up. You know, the year's been shat on, and now we're finishing off with three good heavyweight battles. So good, we're back in the mix again. Good on you.
I'll tell you what though. I know that Derek Chisora's not favourite going into this fight. I'll punt back against Chisora pulling that off.
Yeah. You know what? I actually listen. Let's be honest.
It's a difficult fight, but I would never back against.
Let's be honest. I think most people don't think he'll win, but most people hope he does. They hope he does because it's a great story. And you're thinking, it's a great underdog story as well. And Derek's grown on a lot of people, and I'm one of them. I'm like thinking, I do hope you pull it off. I don't think you will, but I do hope you pull it off because he deserves it. He's grafted hard for this, and I think he's constantly reinvented himself and put himself in contention, and so he's done it again. But now he's up against one of the best at the moment that are out there, and he's willing to take it to him. He's got to take it to him. But I'm hearing sparring the stuff he's doing. David, I called David. I had a kid that wanted to spar with Derek because David put a shout saying he wanted sparring partners for him, and one of them was the Fridge, who Derek had boxed before, but he just Carl Baker.
Carl Baker. Is Carl still going?
He's still training. He's still hitting the back. Still training. So he said, "Ask David if I can go down." I'm like, "Are you sure? Because you don't look or move like Usyk. You're just a southpaw." And he said, "No, I'll give him some rounds." So I told David, and David said, "If he lasts 2 rounds, he's done well. He'll do well." But anyway, he didn't do it. He didn't really get a call. And then I had another young lad. David's like, he's a mercenary, man. I said, "I've got another guy, but he's hurt his hand." He said, "Just bandage it up. Just bring him down." I said, "I can't do that. I can't do that." So I know they're working hard and they're getting through sparring partners as well.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that fight week. That's going to be an interesting fight week. Are you going to be around?
Yeah, I'm going to be on. I'm back, man. I'm back.
COVID-free, you're back.
COVID-free, I'm back. I'm not saying, listen, it was a negative twice. I got 2 negative texts. Twice.
Peter Fury got a negative today, thank God.
Did he?
Yeah. So
you know what? Yeah, shall I tell you this whole COVID situation? Boris, when it's all hit here in the UK, Boris basically more or less said, "Look, we don't want what we're doing. It's going to be some ups and downs, blah, blah, blah." And he got credit for that. It's when they're trying to tell you they know what they're talking about. That's where you think, stop talking shit. And it is. And it's like, you can't tell me I've got all the symptoms. I'm tested twice. I just wanted some antibiotics for my chest. They wouldn't let me in the place because he said, "But you've got COVID symptoms." I said, "Well, you're telling me I haven't. So just give me an antibiotic." They wouldn't see me or speak to me. I was bad, mate.
Have you considered the fact that they probably just didn't want you in there because they don't like you?
I was masked up. They didn't know it was me. I was masked up.
Everybody knows it's in December.
They had no idea it was me. I was trimmed up and everything. I looked slim and what? No idea.
Johnny, trimmed up. You're never fat anyway. You're never overweight or anything. You just.
I went up to 19 stone. I feel ashamed.
When?
I was at about 3.5 weeks ago.
You got any pictures?
Yes, I have, but not the kind you want to see on here.
All right, Johnny, I'm going to let you crack on with your day. I appreciate your time. We'll catch up next week in the Fight Camp bubble.
Peace. You will do. Enjoy, my brother. Enjoy.
We'll speak soon.
See you soon.
Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO. Free, impartial advice on all your debt.